So when I initially got into the industry, I always thought to myself, man, if I could just make $100,000 a year, I will have arrived, you know? And I always thought people that made over six figures, I thought they're just more educated than me. They probably are just a better hustler, or they have huge connections, or it must have been their mom and dad got them the job where they're at, right? In reality, that is absolutely just BS. It's just not true. Now, knowing what I know today, if you're in sales and you know that you can make X in that sale, then all it is working harder every single day to get multiple amounts of this sale. So in the video that you're about to see right now, you're actually taking a step-by-step view and in the car with me going to the field in an appointment on several different factors that I go through in the field. You're going to be hearing number one, me communicate with a new trainee in the field. They're asking me different questions and things of that nature. And I'm going through exactly how my thinking process is and what I should have ready for my appointment that I'm about to do. The secondary part of this video is going to go through how I actually go through the KTP, otherwise known as the kitchen table presentation. Now, the person that I'm presenting to is a real estate professional, but you can apply this exact presentation to any person out there, especially husband and wife, because this particular person is married. He just fortunately makes all of the financial decisions that you probably have heard of before. Now, this is a one-legged appointment, but it's going to serve its purpose in that we're getting a couple different things out of it. Number one, I'm talking about the company, how solvent we are, and how we're affiliated with a ton of different companies that are multi-billion-dollar companies. The secondary part, I'm going to talk about some of the concepts that he may have heard of before, and he's even going to give me a couple different objections internally inside of the presentation. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about how I close, and you're going to see right away this particular person light up like a Christmas tree when I come to different subject matters. Take copious notes. Don't think you know it all. Come from a place of abundance and know that anybody else that you know makes tons of money, you can do the same thing too. I used to think the same way. I used to think, man, I don't know if I could ever make $100,000 a year. And now I think, how do I not make that much money in a month or a week or even a day? 50K a day keeps poverty away. In the video, you'll see, I mean, you can make $50,000 a day at any time you want to. It's just putting your mind at ease and knowing that you can do so. Okay, enjoy the video. See ya. So I chose today to speak with a couple realtors. Why is that? Because she's from the real estate industry, and I want to make sure that she kind of puts herself in that space, and she's a badass in that sector. So I want to kind of massage that mind, if you will. So the couple people that we're going to see today, them being in real estate, I don't go and talk to, I mean, respect to the average realtors, but I don't want to go and talk to the average realtor. I want to go talk to the broker. The reason why is because the broker calls the shots. He's not the guy asking questions. Can I do this? Can I do that? I want to talk to the head of the snake, the person that calls shots. So the first person that I'm going to speak with, Joseph, he's been in real estate for about 3 to 4 years. I met him through a mutual friend, and we hit it off right away. He's got a military background. He's competitive. He doesn't like to lose. He's a sharp dresser. So when I met him initially, he has a tailor-made suit. So the guy that has a tailor-made suit loves to be recognized. So whenever I sit in front of a guy like that, I polish his ego a little bit. And he's not an ego guy, but I do want to express to you that he loves being that center of attention, just like anybody else does, but he likes it a little bit more. Anybody that has tattoos, anybody that has a nice watch, tailor-made suit, all that good stuff, they love to be recognized. So I treated him as such. So when I first initially met with him, I talked him up a bunch. I said all truths, by the way. I'd never lie inside of the appointment, but I said, man, what an amazing office. How long did you build it? Yada, yada, yada. And we connected. Didn't try and sell him at all in the first initial appointment at all. It was after that I started shooting him a text message. I started calling him a little bit more, and then I knew that he was on social media because everybody's on social media nowadays. So I added him to my social media network. I think he added me to Instagram, and I shot him a request on Facebook. So obviously, every single day I post on social media. Do I miss it every now and then? Absolutely. I get busy with life as well, but social media is a business to me. If I'm not posting on social media every single day, it's like I've closed and locked my office to walk in traffic. So the fact that I post, it's like I'm opening the doors to traffic to enter my front doorstep of financial planning. So I kept posting, and out of nowhere he says, "Hey, I got an old 401k that I want to roll over, and I might be looking into other investments as well because, I still have a background in Homeland Security, and I do real estate as well." So I said, "Terrific." So turn this off. So I started chalking up that conversation. Mind you, I don't go in for the kill normally. Today, I'm going in for the kill. So today is going to be like, this is what every sales rep in our company should be doing. You should be making your phone calls every day, at least 30 to 40 contacts a day, whether it be text messages, direct messages on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, or a phone call with the 200-pound phone that you don't like to pick up. Or an email blast, etc. You should be doing that. That's a given. The secondary thing you should be doing is closing for an appointment. Would you like a Zoom appointment or would you like an in-person appointment with a mask on, of course, nowadays? He chose an in-person because he's still personable. He still likes to meet with people and he's not worried about COVID. So I want to respect that. So I called him up. I said, "Hey, I want to share some concepts with you, and I know that last time we spoke, we really didn't talk about that in too much detail, but do you have 15 minutes that you could spare?" Obviously, he said yes. The secondary thing in setting an appointment is something called minimizing the risk. I'm not going to shoot him a call, even though I think the appointment's going to go 45 minutes. I'm not going to shoot him a call and go, "Hey, you got 45 minutes? No. Anybody that's busy doesn't have 45 minutes in their schedule. They do after speaking to you for 15 minutes and seeing value, and then you're opening the door to 45 minutes. So minimize the risk. If they say, "I don't have 15 minutes, I say, "Do you have 5 minutes? "I don't have 5 minutes. "Do you eat at any point in time?" "Of course I eat." "Do you drink water at any point?" "Absolutely." "Let me bring you a water bottle. Let me bring you lunch. Let me bring you breakfast." If I make that $12 to $20 investment in their planning of the day so that I can make $2,000, $3,000 in that portion of the day, I think it's a healthy investment, ROI over the top. So make sure that you're not just minimizing the risk, you're also offering value. Here's another thing with that said. Let's say they flake on you. Most people, you bring them a coffee and they didn't show up, they feel guilty now. So you accomplish, even if they show up, you bring them a coffee and they're grateful for the coffee. They flake on you, you bring them a coffee and you still won because you go, "Brought you a coffee." Now they feel like the biggest jerk ever and they go, "I gotta get this guy back." This is sales 101, ladies and gentlemen. This is so simple. Like anybody can make $250,000 a year, in my opinion. All they have to do is work. It's not that their business doesn't work. It's that they do not work. That's it. Either they don't have massive goals to go out and grab them, or they don't know how to do it. So today, in this video, I want to describe exactly that. Not dreams, not like, "Oh, I want to have a Newport Coast home, but I want to work 2 hours a day." Can't do that. But I am going to go through the hard working process of it because even though I made a 7-figure income last year, I'm going to totally beat the streets today and show you how you grind it out and how you close for a sale. And that's why we're hitting up Starbucks first. All right, so first thing is making context, dominating the context, dominating the context. If you have a staff, even better, even easier. If you don't have staff and you don't have somebody that you're paying $20 a month or $20 an hour, then you're not compounding your numbers. So if my staff is making 30 calls and I'm making 30 calls and my marketing manager is making 40 calls, then I know that I've made 100 calls in a day or contacts. The challenge is not you getting appointments after that point. The challenge at that point is how much leverage do you have? Do you have multiple people in different areas? Are you going to be able to do 9 appointments in a day? Do you even want to do 9 appointments in a day? Because each appointment, to me, I'm going to make $3,000 each appointment. Now, granted, my 3 o'clock, I'll probably make 40 grand. And these 2 first appointments, I in my mind, I'm like, I'm making 3 grand. So every single appointment that I do, I'm making 3 grand. But whatever the number is for you as a sales representative, that depends on your market. Do you have a market that their average household income is going to be 60 to 80,000? You're still making 3 grand, by the way. Or is it 200, 300,000? Your commission on that is probably going to be $7,000-8,000. It's going to be completely different. I always lead with retirement planning, knowing that life insurance is the foundation to the retirement plan. So if I know that my commission in a life insurance policy is going to be upfront and it's going to make me immediately profitable. So across the board, it's what they put away monthly. If somebody puts away $1,000 a month, that's gonna pay you more money than someone that puts away $200 a month. The reason why in a tax-free retirement strategy, the commission's gonna have to be more because your death benefit internally inside of the life insurance is gonna have to be more. So you should be making more money on that transaction. But if it's a rollover, you can't gauge that because you don't know which annuity you're putting them in. It's totally dependent on the age of the client. Across the board, though, anybody that's younger, you're going to make less money on. So guess what my target market is? Older. Yeah. At least over 30. At least over 30. I'm not talking to the guy that's 24, just finished college, and they got 70 grand in student loan debt. Yeah. I don't even want that person, to be honest with you, unfortunately to say. I will, however, give that person to one of my reps as a referral because they need some type of financial plan in the future. Right. So that's how I'd handle that situation, like your target market. Okay. So across the board, I'm normally asking futuristic questions. I'm trying to make them uncomfortable with being comfortable. So this guy right here, I'm going to ask him his goals, just like any business owner, any business person. But I'm not going to ask it in a way that's condescending or you don't know type of stuff. Intruding. Exactly. I think that's rude. So I'm just going to be very respectful and I'll ask for his permission first. I'll say, with your permission, I want to ask you some uncomfortable questions. And it's not because I'm trying to be a jerk or anything like that, bro. I just legitimately want to try and help you. Boom. But if I'm new and let's say I make less money than this dude, instead of that, I'm saying, hey, a guy like you that owns a business like this, I can learn a lot from. Can I share with you some concepts that I have and see if you could refer me anybody that you know? See how it's different? Now, let me teach you something versus let me share some concepts so that maybe you could refer me to some people. Okay, so that was secondary, setting the appointment and then isolating. So setting the appointment to me is very easy. Minimizing the risk is very important. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Do you have 10 minutes to go through some basic information? And it's not going to take more than 15 minutes. If you ask any more questions, of course, it's going to take a little bit more than 15 minutes. But it really helped me out on the business level. And who knows, maybe you know somebody that might need some of my assistance. Or switching gears, you say, who knows, maybe you might need some of the products or the services that we
provide to the consumer across the kitchen table. So one of those. When they say yes, then you say, terrific. When's a good time? Weekends or weekdays. If you're grinding it, again, you're working weekends. Shoot, you're working Sundays. If you're trying to pay the rent, you're working Sundays. So they say weekdays. Oh, terrific. Early in the week or later in the week? Later in the week. Thursday or Friday? Friday after 3 or before 11? Let's do after 3. I have 6 o'clock available. And then boom, you're setting the appointment. So, Joseph, when you available, weekends or weekdays? Joseph goes, dude, I'm an early bird. I'm in the office by 9 a.m. and I have some things to take care of after 11. I go, cool, man. I'll see you there around 9:30. But 9 to 11 is cool then? He says, yes. That way he knows to expect me between 9 and 11. And I'm not surprising him or just popping up. But with that said, I could pop up. And go, hey, man, just thought I'd pop by and say hello. Here's some brochures or whatever the case may be. Salespeople, just so everyone understands this, salespeople in general, 99% of the time, me included, by the way, they love a good sales guy or gal. They love a good sale. So if someone called me up and said, hey, Manny, I bought face cream from somebody direct messaging me on Facebook. She never met me. I've never met her. And I bought face cream. Why? Because I love the fact that she shot me a DM. She said, Manny, you look amazing. You must put a lot of stuff on your face. And I thought it was funny. She was perfect. I go, no, I actually do need some stuff. She said, terrific. I'd love an opportunity to gain your business. And boom, horrible follow-up, by the way. But she was a great salesperson. I signed up for the stupid package. It cost me like $300, and I still got that stuff in my shelf. But I love a good sale. Same thing with anybody else. If they sell stuff, they know the challenge of grinding in the field. So guess what they think about? This guy's grinding in the field. I want to buy something, and if I need it, I'm gonna buy it from this guy right here. All right, so let's switch gears. So that's setting the appointment. I isolate the day and the time, and then they may ask me, what do I need for the appointment? If they ask that, that's a buying signal. So they're already anticipating I'm buying some stuff. Do I need a copy of my 401k? Do I need a copy of my life insurance? Those are all buying signals. When I actually sit down with the prospect, naturally, at my point in my career now, I wear a lot of t-shirts, especially because it's summer right now. But I'm not, you can only make the first try at the first impression. So you want to set the right first impression. So walk in, not suited necessarily, but polished at least. Have some slacks on, be somewhat professional in your look. Again, predominantly, most people are very visual. So you want to have that visual look about you, being professional and stand up. When I do sit down and speak with the person, I make sure, if it's at their office, I make sure that it's in their office or at a conference table. If I'm with some representatives like I am today, I'm going to have me and my representative with me on my side of the table. He or she is not sitting on the other side of the table. My prospect is sitting on the other side of the table. If the prospect is there with their wife or their partner, again, I want their partner on the other side, not next to me. That way I'm not going this, that. Hey, Bob, this, that. Hey, Jerry, this, that. I'm not doing that. I'm doing boom, boom, right in front of me. Another thing is be absolutely prepared. Have visual aids. So have your one piece ready. So the one piece in our business is credibility piece. We have all our product providers like AIG and Prudential and Pacific Life, all those guys on one brochure. That way it describes it all and gives them a visual aid of boom, we're credible. On the back, I have some concepts for them to pay attention to. That way it's not a 20-page flip chart. It's just a one piece front and back. And that way I'm ready to rock and roll as soon as possible and gather some data. In this appointment, I actually do have some printouts. Purposely, I made the age, younger than they really are. I think Joseph is like 47. I think Rob's like 45. And I made him 45 and 40. Oh man, I thought you were so young. You know, didn't even know. So I'm gonna illustrate to them how if they saved $500 a month, how it would compound interest into X. And then if they get saucy on me, or they think, oh man, $500, I don't know if I can afford that. I only pay $5,000 in my office. They can afford it, trust me. But if they do get weak, I don't want to leave without a sale. So instead, I printed out a term insurance policy, which is cheaper. It's like $100 a month. In the $500 scenario, I'm going to make about $4,000. In the $100 scenario, I'm going to make about $1,500. So again, I want to show them visual aids just in case they go, well, show me what that looks like. Boom, I'm ready. I am going to have some scratch pieces of paper. I'm going to make the scratch pieces of paper colorful. I'm not going to put them in white paper. It's blue. And I have different colored markers. I have a black marker just to be exponential, and I have a blue marker, and then I have my regular pen. If you're trying to do an illustration, you're writing down in black ink, you're losing them. It should be at least in blue ink, but have a marker because they want to notice everything in the presentation. Boom! You see how I did that? So you guys go, what the fuck is wrong with Manny? But it's got to be kind of like that when you're presenting. You got to have like bigger stuff, like bigger marker, different color marker. All right, so once I sit down with them, I'm going to go through the 3 C's, which is company, credibility. Now, in the timeline that we have, I'm going to do it really quick. Second C is going to be concepts, some of the concepts that they may or may not have heard of before. And then last, I'm going to close. So 3 C's. These guys are a little bit different because they're real estate professionals and they have a big net. They have a big network. I'm going to throw in a little bit of a rattlesnake, and I'm going to show them some marketing capabilities. I'm not just going after them as a client, which I'm most concerned with, by the way. I'm going after them as a marketing partner, meaning, Joseph, when you close a transaction, what's the closing look like? Joseph goes, well, we're very professional in that blah, blah, blah. He's selling me on how great he is in the closing process. I go, wow, that's terrific, man. That's amazing. You know, you probably teach all your agents that. That's awesome. And I might ask him some more questions. How do you coach them? And do you hire a coach, or do you have no, man, I do it myself because I'm the best at it, you know. And then more about their language, you know, whatever they're saying, I'm catching on to. If it's all about them, I'm making it about, or all about them, I'm making it about him. If it's all about some other person, I know that he's more of like a giver. He's not really concerned about I'm the greatest in the world. So when he does go through the closing process, I'm going to ask him again, I'm going to say, well, let me ask you a question. How do you believe your client that you just closed a transaction with and probably made 22 racks on, how do you think they would feel about you introducing them to a professional like myself to insure their home? God forbid something were to happen to them. How do you think they'd feel about you? They'd feel pretty good, right? How do you think they'd feel about their family situation now, knowing that they have income protection and mortgage protection, and God forbid they have a stroke one day and they have to go back to work? Can they lose? Is it a possibility they lose the house? You know, how do you think they'd feel about themselves? They feel unbelievable. And then lastly, how do you think their family would feel? You think their family would feel a little bit more secure in that they have some sort of insurance plan to plan for the worst? Obviously wish for the best, but plan for the worst. And then they go, absolutely. So what I'd like to do, Joe, is I'd like to be that go-to person. If you want a female, I got female brokers on my squad. If you want bilingual, I got bilingual. You want someone that speaks Chinese, I got Chinese. You want somebody tall, fat, short, doesn't matter. I got anybody that they can choose from. And then I would hook Joe up with that person, having a relationship with them. Now, in the past, with real estate professionals, I'm like, I could service maybe 5 guys, man. I don't know you would be like the 5th guy that I'm servicing for you referring clients to me. And I mean, you have to give me at least 3 referrals a month, but I can't take more than 10 referrals a month. So I give them a goal, and then I let them know there's a minimum. Otherwise, I'm going to give them off to somebody else. That's me in my position right now. But if I'm hungry in the field, I'm like, hey, man, for us to have a partnership and you're going to have all these clients coming to you and going, man, what great work Manny did. He's awesome. He's unbelievable. By the way, don't screw the client. Make sure you do the right thing for the client. You want to totally ace your reputation. Do horrible things for your clients, and you're going to be out of business in the next 3 years. So it's very important. And then when I close, I'm going to gather their business card, obviously, and then I'm going to give it to my staff, and then I'm going to put it in my CRM system, and I'm going to have my staff follow up with that prospect or now that client and let them know every 6 months at least that, hey, we haven't forgotten about you. We love you. We want to continue to have a great relationship with you. We're almost there. All right, Wendy, questions?
What do you do if, do they ever start asking you questions right then and there of like what the cost of those plans are? Like, let's say, you show them your sheet of different vendors, and how do you handle that? Do you come prepared like with your laptop and like you have everything already ready to go?
I do. Preparation is supposed to be, that's a given. If you're not prepared, you'll still make a sale sometimes, even if you're not prepared. But if let's say they go,
circumstance, you're talking money, like people's long-term financial investment.
Well, believe it or not, think about it for a second. I had a job before I got in this industry. So when I had a job, I put $300 a month into my 401k. You know how many questions I asked about my 401k?
How many?
None. I was like, well, everyone else is doing it. I guess I got to do it. So a lot of the times, even though it is money, they don't ask. Really? They're just like, I need coverage. I know I need coverage. I got $300 extra hanging out in my checking account. And if it's an objection, that's the objection. Then I'm going to overcome the objection pretty simply, because I'm like, what's the rate of interest that you're getting in your checking account? 0. If you had a heart attack, stroke, or cancer, how much does the bank give you? 0. If you died, unfortunately, premature, how much does the bank give your family? 0.
Oh, I like that.
So you put $300 every month into your bank account like nothing, but you never sat there and said, I wonder what the bank is doing, because that's what everyone else does.
Mm-hmm.
So my job as the financial strategist is to sit down with you and go, there are different options. You do have outlet plans, but the fact that somebody does not share it with you is just because you haven't gone out and looked for the information.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to tell you, it's the easiest sale. It's so easy. So yeah, I do bring my laptop. I do bring illustrations. I do bring a one piece. I do bring an app where I'm ready to rock and roll, just in case they shock me and go, yeah, let's get our feelings on paper.
Mm-hmm.
But normally I want to be in and out of there as soon as possible, because they're going to remember the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Manny was hanging out for 3 hours here taking an application. I don't want my clients going through that. Dude, Manny was here for 20 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. Had his staff call me and take information over the phone. I like that. This guy's streamlined. He knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Value, 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 value. I'm always thinking to myself, is this the type of professional that I would hire?
Mm-hmm.
And if not, then I got to get my act together. So if they ask about costs or fees, I'm ready for that. I've already illustrated that. I've already anticipated on that. So how much is it going to cost me, Manny? Great question, Joseph. I asked the same question when I got into the industry and I bought my first policy. The biggest question that I asked myself was, how much is it going to cost me for me not to do this? It could cost me my future. It could cost me my family. It could cost me, shit, man, my kids could probably be eating a cup of noodles if I don't have this insurance in place. But the secondary thing I asked myself is, how much would I pay for that? And for me, it's more of a retirement plan. So I backed it in, my goal when I first, and I always use me as the person because they're going to put themselves in my space. So I asked myself, how much money do I want to retire on? And my goal at that time was $50,000 a year. I know, crazy, right? $50,000 a year. By definition, if I wanted to retire years ago, 17 years ago, it would be $50,000 a year is my FIN, my financial independence number. So I knew I needed to save up $500,000 to accomplish retirement. So my goal was $500,000 is I got to save up $500,000. So at that time, I only needed to save $380 a month to accomplish my goal by the time I was 65. If your goal is to retire on $15,000 a month, you need to save X. And if you can't save X, then you're not retiring at your goal. It's pretty commonsensical, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if as a realtor, if I go to you and I go, hey, I want to pay $1,700 a month, but I want to live in Manhattan Beach in a $1.2 million house, you laugh your ass off. You go, that's not going to pay for the gardener.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then you can't live there. Same thing with retirement. You can't do it. So I back it in.
All right, so I'm just going to kind of overview exactly what we do and how maybe we can have a partnership in the future with your clients, my clients, etc. I know that I've known you for not that long. I mean, close to a year now, but
Right.
I know that our relationship was immediate. It's like you can connect with somebody and automatically you go, I like this guy.
Right.
You know, you know. So I'm just going to go through the credibility of the company, like who we are, what kind of companies we do business with, maybe some concepts that you may or may not have heard of before. And then at the end, I want you to really just open it up to a bunch of different questions that you might have. Matter of fact, in the middle of the presentation, go, Manny, hold on a second, bro. You said this. How about that? How does that make sense?
Okay, cool.
Cool?
Makes sense.
Okay, great. Let's get started. The whole purpose of the presentation, obviously, is not just to impress you, but also to go, I think I know a guy that does this, or I think I know a guy that might need this, you know. So please speak up, and if you know of anybody, let's do this. Okay, awesome. All right, number one, have you ever heard of the company before meeting me, the financial architect?
I had not.
Okay, awesome. You might have heard of just some of the companies we do business with. Obviously, Pacific Life, Nationwide. You see commercials all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
AIG, Prudential. These are all household names.
Right.
So what we do is not necessarily unique. It's just how we actually do it. Every professional is different, obviously. You sell X amount of homes and someone else might sell no homes the whole year. So obviously, the cream always rises to the top. I don't really believe in an 80-20 rule. I believe in a 90-10 rule, and you're obviously one of those 10 percenters, so I love having the conversation with you.
Yes.
Okay? You know what I'm saying? So knowing that there's a ton of different companies like this, we're kind of like the Foot Locker of financial services.
Okay.
Where you walk into Foot Locker, you got Nike, you got Reebok, you got Timberland, you got all these choices, right? With us, we're the Foot Locker of financial services. So you walk into the front door steps, you got every single company under the sun. Instead of going, well, State Farm can do my life insurance, but you know Manny and the financial architect does it for 20% less expensive.
Makes sense.
Okay. On the back here is exactly what we do for the consumer across the kitchen table. Now you might notice 3 enemies to our money. Inflation is a massive enemy to our money. If you're not getting anywhere between 3 to 4% in your checking account, it's losing value. You might as well spend your money now. It's worth more now.
Exactly.
You, being in real estate, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, housing in the 80s is not what it's like in 2020. So inflation is going to continue to appreciate in value just as much as a house does.
Right.
So your gas prices go up, milk prices go up. Heck, our jeans and tennis shoes are going to continually go up.
Right.
So again, if you're banking at, let's just say, Wells Fargo and earning a 0% interest rate, you got to make at least 3 to 4% to have some sort of potential arbitrage. Number 2 enemy to your money is taxation. You make more, they take more.
Exactly.
You spend it, they tax it. You save it, they tax it. You die, quite frankly, they tax it.
Yeah.
Elvis Presley lost 78% of his estate
He could shake his hips, but he had no idea what he was doing with his financial portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Marilyn Monroe, 95%.
Wow.
She didn't have a living trust. She didn't have an estate plan, nothing like that. So what our job is at the Financial Architects is to, of course, hedge that aspect as well, taxation. And then lastly is procrastination. It's the biggest enemy to our money.
Oh, big time.
If you're anything like me, like when I was growing up, I was like, dude, I'm set. I make $1,800 a month. Woo! I'm gonna get the boom box in the back seat. I can rent a room now.
Yeah.
Woo! I don't have to live with dads anymore. I'm set. And then I got promoted, right? And I go from 1,800 to 2,300. I go, dude, I'm set. Now I can buy a 2-bedroom apartment. And, over
Right.
time, if you're anything like me, you go, well, once little Manny goes to college, thank God he went to the Navy, but once little Manny goes to college, then I can start saving and investing. Once my Beamer's paid off, then I'm going to start saving and investing. People never plan to fail.
Yeah.
They just fail to plan.
Right.
So our job as financial architects is to help you outpace inflation, reduce or hedge taxation, and to absolutely stop procrastination. And the way that we do that is through education. Our mission statement is to educate and empower. So knowing that there's 3 different buckets that the government gives us to save and invest our money. Now, I know that you have some of this in these different buckets.
Right.
So please speak up at any point in time and go, hey, Manny, I have this. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay.
Tax bucket number 1 is your mutual funds, individual stock portfolios. Now, you said that you had some stock. So I would ask, is it common stock? Is it preferred stock? Are you taxed on the gains every single year? Do you report it to your CPA every single year? And more than likely, if you go no, then it's going to be long-term capital gains taxes.
Right.
And if you're earning capital gains taxes over that long term, expect a massive tax bill at the end of the rainbow. And again, we'll help you to hedge that.
Okay.
Number 2 is tax later. Now, this is normally where a lot of money is kept here in the United States. Okay.
Right.
This is your tax later bucket. These are your 401ks, your TSAs, your 403Bs, 457s, et cetera, et cetera. So the government says to you, they go, Joseph, we love you so much. We're not going to make you pay taxes now. We're going to wait to make you pay taxes. And outside looking in, you go, God, I love this government. It's awesome. So they say to you, they go, why don't you put in, like you put into your thrift plan, right? You have a TSB or
18%.
Okay. So every year
To your max.
you put in the max.
Right.
Okay. So how much is that? I'll just write it down.
It's about 18,000.
Okay, so about $18,000 a year you put into your deferred compensation bucket. Okay. Now you get a deduction on the $18,000. So instead of making $100,000 that year, you're going to make $82,000. So you did not pay taxes on $18,000.
Okay.
Makes sense? So over the next X amount of years, the government goes, by the time you're 59 and a half, you can touch your money. Let's say it's grown into a $2 million nest egg, which is actually real numbers, by the way.
Okay.
So at this time, then they make you pay taxes on this amount, not on this amount.
Right.
So let's say we're all farmers. We go down to the local liquor store. We pick up some penny seeds. They're cheap. They're pennies on the dollar. You plant the seeds into the ground in, let's say, the city of Upland, and over the next 30 years, you have this $2 million apple orchard. Would you rather pay taxes on the penny seeds that are cheaper or the multi-million-dollar apple orchard that's more?
Penny seeds all day.
All day long. The reason why we put it into our penny seeds or we put it into our harvest long term is because we just don't know any different.
Right.
Christian yells fire and he rolls out to that door. I'm going to follow him because he seems like he knows where he's going.
Yeah.
You, being from here, you go, what a dumbass. You go out that door. We should have followed you, but because he took the lead and everyone else followed, majority of the time they follow him.
Yeah.
Same thing with this. Well, Bob at work does it, so I do it. Janet at HR with blue hair makes less money than I do does it, so I'm going to do it.
Right.
Not necessarily the right direction to go, but over time we're just taught certain things.
Right.
Pay off your home. The worst thing you can do, the biggest tax deduction you have, equities, lower interest rate ever right now. Why would you ever want to pay off your house?
Yeah.
If you believe in property, you buy another equity, another property. Refi, take some cash out, and go buy another one with some rentals. Common sense. But again, common sense ain't too common.
Right.
Because we don't get around to circling up and going, okay, what's it going to look like? So if I showed you like a different outlet plan and I could share with you how you can retire in the next 4 to 5 years or 4 to 5 years earlier than your first anticipation, that would be something that you want to take a look at, right?
Sure.
So that's exactly what I draw up inside of that secondary, okay? So they have 2 rules. The government goes 59.5 and 72 rule. 59.5 rule says, we love you, Joseph. You don't have to pay taxes now, penny seeds. But when you turn 59.5, you avoid a 10% prepayment penalty, okay? Or the withdrawal penalty. But you still have to pay regular income taxes. So if you have $2 million, and I'm just rounding, and you're going to take out 30% taxation, let's say taxes don't rise, which they will, by the way, but 30% of 2 million is 600 grand. 30% of 18 grand is 5,400 bucks. So we're trying to save $5,400 to pay 600,000.
That makes sense. I get it.
Okay, cool.
Now I have a question,
Please.
and it's more pertaining to me.
I want it to pertain to
Okay,
you.
perfect.
Okay.
So the 59.5 doesn't pertain to me because of the occupation that I'm in.
55.
They allow me to do it at 50.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
after 20 years of service, you can withdraw at 50.
This is the dominant rule,
Right.
but when you're Homeland Security, when you're
Or something like that.
military, when you're police officers, and you served an amount of years, this
Right.
rule is different.
Yeah. Very.
Majority of the time, it's 59.5. But you're absolutely correct.
And then the second part of the question is the 18K investment per year. I get it. It's better to pay. Now, how do I determine the benefits of the dollar for dollar matching that they do provide? Like a
Is it
GST
dollar for dollar
component?
up to 18?
So they do up to 5%, 5% dollar for dollar. Anything after 5%, up to 8%, it's one. I believe it's 1 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
And then anything after that is your own money that you're putting in.
Right.
So
Personal, every financial strategist is different. For me,
Right.
no brainer. You're getting a match. It's 100% return on your money. Take advantage of the full match.
gotcha.
Anything under 30%, it's better served
Elsewhere.
in a different bucket,
Okay.
in a Roth or in what I'm about to show you, a cash value life insurance policy called a LIRP plan.
Mm-hmm.
There's books written about the stuff. The reason being is because there's 3 big things that are happening right now, which excites me, gives me goosebumps every time I talk about it. Number 1 is our baby boomers. Between the years 1946 and 1964, a massive amount of babies were born. Make love, not war. About 81 million Americans right now.
Okay.
We have a population 325 to 330 million right now. So it's a big population. They're all going to retire and unfortunately have health challenges. Guess who pays for it? Us.
Yeah, certainly.
Next 10 years, we're not going to recognize it. Okay? You got healthcare challenges coming out of our ears. They say that the last 2 years of your life is the biggest medical expenses. Right now, there's 10,000 baby boomers every single day turning 65. 10,000 more turning 66. 10,000 more turning 67. It's the biggest fluctuation of wealth that's happened ever in our American history, to the tune of about 70 trillion with a T. If you guys remember in 2002 through 2007, the big mortgage boom, that was a $5 trillion industry. And everyone made money. Everyone, okay, including me. But now it's a $70 trillion industry in financial planning. The average rep like me is 62. So the industries, they're all retiring,
Right.
and the need is going like this.
Gotcha.
So again, video. So exposure, expansion, etc. So this is number 1. This is a huge one right here. I could just talk about this one. You'd be like, okay, done.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Social Security. They're starting to call it social insecurity. No matter who's president, Trump, Biden, Harry Potter, doesn't matter. Taxes have to go up. The reason why is because you have to reform Social Security. By the year 2031, there's going to be some massive cash deficiencies in our Social Security program. So either they're going to cut people's checks, and Mary Jones, who's 82 years old, doesn't get $2,700 from Social Security anymore. She gets 21, and on a limited income, whoa.
Yeah.
So you think they're going to take some money from people? I don't know. Everyone has guesstimations. And then number three, which is probably the biggest challenge, as if the first two weren't big enough, is our U.S. debt. Introducing COVID. We're at 25 trillion, probably by the time it's all said and done, over 30 trillion of U.S. debt. In 2008, when Obama took office, it was 8 trillion, 8 to 10 trillion. In 2016, when Trump took office, it was 20. Now it's 30. So with these three major facts, do you believe taxes are rising a little bit or a lot?
Overall, a lot.
So why, again, do you want to postpone your $2 million of taxation instead of having control over your taxation? Make sense?
It does.
So again, I would immediately reallocate. I didn't know you saved that much. You're a great saver, dude.
But again, we're creatures of habit, right?
Sure.
So when they tell you, yeah, take out 5% of your pay and put it away, and that you're going to get some kind of compensation from it at the end of the rainbow.
And not to say it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're giving you a match on it. That's great.
And
I
when
would
you're,
find out the match.
yeah, when
Just
you're
match.
young, it's cool, right? And, coming out of the Marine Corps and stuff like that, you're just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, you're coachable too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But now there's a smarter way to do it. So
Absolutely. With EXP, the same thing.
Right.
Same thing. You think outside of the box like average people don't. So tax later, that's this bucket. Secondary rule to this tax later is the 72 rule. Now, I talked about, hey, you can't touch your money until you're 59 and a half. In your scenario, 50.
right.
There is a 72 rule, excuse me. Meaning this, government goes, again, Joseph, we love you so much. We're not going to make your taxes down. We're going to wait. But if you don't take money, a portion of this, by the time you're 72, we're going to penalize you 50% on top of regular income taxes. 50. So if your RMD, required minimum distribution, is 50 grand that year, and you've done well in real estate, you got stock options with the EXP, you got all these different multiple investments, you got units here, all these different things, you're like, I don't even need this money, which I'm guessing is the case right now because you're pretty financially solvent. When you don't take 50 grand out, they penalize you 25,000, which is 50%, on top of your taxation. Another 30%. Let's just hope it stays at 30%.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So you can already get your head around, oh my gosh, that's unreal. So here's what I have. I've been doing this 17 years. I have the guy that was 59 come into my office, we do a plan, and now he's 72, and he goes, I wish I would have got a life insurance policy when I was 59. Because now his health is not the same. People never plan to fail, they fail to plan, you follow?
Right.
So what I normally do is recommend those outlet plans when they're younger in their 40s and 50s because they're never going to get their health back. They make all this wealth and ignore their health in order to spend their wealth on their health later. Makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? So introducing the tax never bucket. These are your Roth IRAs. These are your cash value life insurance policies. These are your 529 college plans for kids, municipal bonds, etc. So I took the liberty of illustrating to you how a permanent life insurance policy works. This is an illustration. Look, it's got your name on it too.
Yay.
Paula, who says that?
I'm in the house.
You know? So this particular plan has 3 different aspects to it. Number 1, God forbid you pass away prematurely, your family gets X. Now, I did do an illustration based on $500,000. Okay. Number 2 is become ill. God forbid, heart attack, stroke, cancer, something like that happens. You're not grabbing into your retirement plan, or you're not doing this. You're exposing your insurance plan because you anticipated something like that. People never plan to fail, they fail to plan. I'll keep saying that. And then lastly, this particular life insurance policy has a pension plan attached to it.
Okay.
Here's a drawback to when I got into the industry 17 years ago. We didn't have these riders, by the way. 10 years ago is when they created these. I got in 17 years ago. So I'd get the old school Latino, Jose and Maria, And Jose would lean back, he put his hand in his trouser, he goes, ¿Para qué? Para tu Sancho? Okay. And Maria would be like, Jose, you know, and I'd go, Jose, that's a great objection. I said, if you passed away, does Maria now need Sancho? He goes, that makes sense. If you have a life insurance policy, she don't need Sancho for the next 30 years.
Mhm.
He goes, that makes sense, mijo. Write me up.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Yeah.
But now it's a lot easier for me to sell because this plan has living benefits and a pension plan attached to it. Okay. Now I'm going to go through the money factor, and then I'm going to go back through critical illness here. Okay. Now, this illustration is illustrating you putting away $500 a month, which is $6,000 a year.
Okay.
Okay. The first year, you're 45 years, I guess your age. So 45 years old, or years young, I'd like to say, because I'm the same age. You have two different options. You can put it into a 3% fixed account, or you can put it into an indexed account, which is averaging about 6 to 8%. Okay. I like to under-promise and over-deliver. I'm not going to show you 10% rates, because if you don't get 10%, and I came here in 2020 and you go, I didn't get 10.
Right.
So I'd rather show you 5.25 and you get 7, you think I'm a superstar. So let's just say you got $500. Now, normally, where do you put your discretionary income? Like deposit your money.
Where do I put it?
Mhm.
In a personal bank.
Okay. Who do you bank with?
B of A and Chase.
Okay, so let's call it Chase.
Okay.
So let's just say you have $500 extra. I'm sure you have tons more than that. But let's say you have $500 extra.
Mhm.
Okay. In Chase, when you deposit that money, what's the rate of return that they're giving you on that $500?
Nothing.
0.
Right.
If you have a heart attack, stroke, or cancer, do they give you more money above the $500?
No.
Hell no. 0. If you die, do they give your family any more money besides the $500 you've been putting into it?
No.
My right pocket, because this plan is all you're doing is taking money from your left pocket, which is an asset,
Mhm.
and you're putting it in your right pocket, which is another asset. In your right pocket, you're going to get 5 to 8% rates of return. Already you won. In your right pocket, if you have a heart attack, stroke, or cancer, you can pull a benefit amount above the amount of money you've been getting plus the interest. In your right pocket, if you were to pass away, your family gets $500,000 of life insurance, income tax free. Boom. After reviewing both pockets, where would you like to put your money?
The right pocket.
I'm good.
Yeah.
So in the right pocket, thanks for following along, bro. I appreciate it. So
All day.
so in this illustration here,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm sharing with you.
Okay.
So after, let's just say the 15th year, because this is a long-term investment, not a short-term product, in the 15th year, using the index, how much money do you have in the 15th year?
149.
$149,000. If you wanted to grab 90% of that money and put it into a property or flip or put it into an annuity, you can do so. You have 100% access to this money after the first policy year.
Cool.
So consider this kind of like a supplemental checking account with an interest rate combined to it with
Right.
critical and chronic illness, which I'll show you at the
Right.
end. Let's say you have a daughter that's 4?
4.
Daughter? What's her
Yes.
name?
My daughter?
Uh-huh.
Penelope.
Oh, nice. Okay. So Penelope, she's 4, and in the next 12 years, she's going to college. So in 12 years, you have $108,000. If Penelope wants to go to USC or Mount San Antonio College, doesn't really matter to you because you have $108,000 there. If you want, she can go to get a student loan. The average college student graduates after 5 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, you have $162,000. So now you can grab the money and pay down for college. Because, by the way, you already know the student loans are deferred until she graduates, right?
Exactly.
So I just showed you an investment plan, a college supplement, and a life insurance plan all into one. Make sense? All right, lastly, let's say none of that stuff happens. You go, dude, I'm good. You know, $500 is nothing to me. I already spend that on lunch. I don't know about lunch, but after the age of 70, you stop putting away, okay? Now, you have $386,000 in cash. Again, at this point, I've been doing this for years. At 70, your real concern is not life insurance, okay? it should have been life insurance. So now you wake up and you go, what type of legacy plan do I have now? I got the stocks, I got the property, how am I going to give all of my stuff to my kids now? I don't want to give it to Uncle Sam as tax favorable as possible. The number one thing you're going to look at is this. And I'm going to be the same age, so I'm playing chess with you every day anyway. So
Very cool.
you're going to be hitting me up going, dude, thank you so much for getting me that life insurance policy, because you don't just have the life insurance benefit, which has been growing, by the way. Notice I started it at $500,000. Now it's at 700 plus, because the death benefit cannot be more than your cash value building.
Gotcha.
Okay. Or the cash value cannot be more than your death benefit building. Okay. It's like a burrito. So the tortilla is the life insurance, and
Right.
the rice and the beans and the sour cream, I'm getting hungry, and all that stuff inside of it is your investments. Okay. Questions on this?
The only question I have that, and it's kind of a no-brainer, since it's after-taxed money, there's no taxation on this at the end, right?
Good question. Thank you for bringing that up. I should have brought that up.
Okay.
So it is post-tax.
Right.
So again, to reiterate here, what you're doing is you're diversifying your plan. So you have your eggs in your deferred plan, where you are going to have to pay taxes on distribution, but you also have it in a Roth supplement. I call it a Roth because it works just like a Roth.
Okay.
I think it's better than a Roth, personally thinking, because Roth is just money. It has no insurance benefit to it. But you get to exit income tax free. Unlike a Roth, though, you don't have to qualify for this.
Okay.
So you have to make less than $172,000, I think, this year in a Roth. If you make 200, you can't put into a Roth.
Okay.
Here, you can make 2 million
And do it.
and do it.
Oh, very cool.
You have to qualify for it medically, though. Drawback here. Roth, you don't qualify medically. Here, you qualify medically.
Hence doing it earlier in life.
Exactly. You get it.
Makes sense.
So let's say I got a guy. I do have a guy. I got a doctor client of mine. He had bypass surgery. He couldn't get a life insurance policy. So he funded $2,000 a month in his wife's policy. She was younger anyway. She was healthier. She looked way better than him anyways.
Good.
So all that stuff was funded inside of his plan.
Okay, sweet.
Good question. Lastly, these are living benefits, and I have living benefits as the primary focus. Here's why. I still earn 50% of what I make. So when I beat the street and I got a client portfolio that's probably about 1,000 clients, let's just say, they're always giving me referrals, and they're always going, hey, just had a new kid. Shocker. So just had a new kid, and Manny, I just switched jobs. Unfortunately, I have a client today that I'm seeing at 3. Her husband died of COVID, and he left her $860,000 of life insurance, and she needs to know how to invest it so that she can continue to make money. She owns a home. She doesn't want to deal with anything like that. She just wants to have security of her income. So great scenario in that. She's 44 years old. So the bigger concern for me is if I go down with a stroke or a heart attack. If you have stage 2 cancer, knock on wood, you're not coming in anymore, and you navigate this ship. You're the VIP here. So when you go left, everyone follows you. When you go straight, people follow you. If you go down, people follow you. They quit the business. They think, oh my gosh, I never want to go through that. I'd rather get a job at Boys. You know, they start thinking some crazy things.
Right.
When you go down here, you actually have a supplement. So if, God forbid, at 50, you had stage 2 cancer, you can pull $180 some odd thousand from your policy, not your cash, policy. So the death benefit is $500,000. So if you said to me, Manny, that wouldn't make a mark in my business, I need a bigger life insurance policy, then I would do that for you. I'd design it for you.
Okay.
So if you wanted like $1 million coverage, I just came up with $500,000 just to
cool.
give you an example. The bigger the death benefit, the bigger the premium, obviously. The bigger the death benefit, the bigger the internal cost. So you're my buddy, so I want to disclose that.
No, for sure.
Inside of a home loan, it's the same basic, where you could charge upfront fees and back-end fees. So in a permanent policy, same thing applies. But if you notice, I'm not even charging you heavy fees in it. It's $150,000, which is what the fees are based on, and $350 is like a gimme, freebie. So I do that to all my real estate buddies, because eventually they're going to find out what I did for them 3 years from now, from their Merrill Lynch guy or something like that, which I don't mind competing with. So you get the basic here. The longer you live, obviously, the richer the benefit.
Mhm.
So when you're 60 and you have stage 3 cancer, unfortunately, the benefit's a lot better.
Okay.
But again, think futuristically, like when you're 78 years old, this is when this is going to be the most important.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that outlet cushion, the foundation to your plan. Money making is always going to be there. You're always going to do it. But what if something happens? Dentist, I have a dentist client of mine. Disability is big because if he can't use his hands, he can't make 15 grand a month.
Right.
So his foundation plan is $500 a month into a disability plan. He ensures that if he can't make his 15 grand, he has insurance to cover him just in case.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense.
Questions on that?
No, it's a no-brainer.
That's it, dude. So any question is a good question. Please don't hesitate to ask me. Any questions for you to keep, by the way.
Right.
So any question is a good question. Don't hesitate to ask me.
So I guess on a personal note, then the money that I do have allocated in my TSP,
Mm-hmm.
because right now I'm still doing contributions, right?
Yep.
At what point? Because I don't know the answer to this. At what point do I have to be separated from government service in order to make any changes to it? I have to be, right?
You can do an in-service transfer. I've only seen that happen. Very, very few companies and government institutions. You'd have to call your company and go, hey, I'd like to do an in-service transfer. I could text message you that.
I actually asked, like,
Oh,
when we knew before you and I were going to sit down,
Yeah.
because I'm still doing consultation for the government, so technically I'm still employed by them periodically. So then I'm still contributing there.
Okay.
Just because it's already fueling, you
Yeah.
know. But I'm under the impression that I can't do anything until I have separation of service,
Then that is the case.
and then I can pay the taxation, right, and then reallocate the funds. Is that how it would work?
Good question.
Okay.
So you don't have to pay the taxation. When you separate employers, I have a YouTube on this, by the way.
Okay. Cool.
It's a qualifying event.
Okay.
So you could roll your money over now to an IRA, tax-free. You know 1031 exchange?
Yes.
Same thing applies in retirement. So you can exchange it to an IRA, and now there's no taxes, and you could either be conservative, moderate, or aggressive in your IRA. You could even get an annuity, which I think an annuity would probably make you more money in the next 10 years than an aggressive IRA. My opinion, because I think we're going to double dip. I think we are going to double dip, which has happened 3 other times in history. And every single time, if you would have got an annuity, you would have made money in a down market.
Right.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So that would be the scenario where you can grab your X amount of dollars and you can roll it into your own IRA, whether it be, again, fixed, moderate, or aggressive. We can put you in that asset allocation.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't know how long the consultation's going to go. I mean, I'm milking it because it's actually kind of like
As you should.
free money in a sense,
Right.
and good travel. So,
Right.
what I'm most interested in doing soon or now or whenever we can put it together, because we haven't had a chance to talk, is so that 18K that I'm investing, right? That's a certain amount, a percentage that goes out bi-weekly, whatever that is. Well, I cap that out probably like 9 months into the year. So the remainder of the year, I'm not investing any money into that TSP account, right?
Okay.
So what I was thinking about doing is maximizing the dollar for dollar matching, because I really think it only ends up being like at best 7%, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm investing 15% and maxing out at 18K,
Sure.
I'd rather reallocate the difference 8%,
Right.
bi-weekly,
Right.
And then spread that throughout the year,
Mhm.
and then invest into something like this to
Give me an
diversify.
amount. So it's should be about 10 grand a year, if I'm thinking right, after tax.
That they don't do dollar for dollar matching. It has to be somewhere around there.
So I'll do an illustration based on about $800 a month in a plan like that. It's going to look very similar. I
Okay.
would recommend a supplemental term, but I'd have to ask you a little bit more questions, and I'll do it offline.
Okay,
later on.
cool. Yeah.
So I'd get you a cheaper term policy, and then I'd max out your contribution inside of one of these permanent plans, so that the money factor's larger.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, because the 500,000 illustration's great. I currently have $1 million one with Transamerica.
Okay. And you don't know whether you have living benefits or not, right?
Honestly, I set that up when I was like 27.
Smart.
So
It did not.
I have no idea what it. I don't think it did. I
Yeah,
remember my
if at
buddy telling
age
me.
27, no,
Yeah.
they didn't have that problem. I was with Transamerica
Okay.
when I was 29, so
Yeah.
they did not have that problem.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy. I think I told you.
Yeah,
We got a close friend over there. So.
got it. And that's 1 million. I'm assuming 30-year term. How much you pay a month in it?
It's a little under 360, 370.
Oh, it's a
something.
permanent plan then.
Yeah,
Okay, it's probably a VUL.
I think it is a VUL. That
Yeah.
term sounds familiar.
Yeah, first 2 years I was smashing the VUL, dude.
Yeah.
I did like 200 grand my first year.
Wow.
So that was a great product back then.
Yeah, back then.
The internal fees are going to crush you.
Mhm.
So I need that statement.
Okay.
You probably have some good value in there.
Hmm.
You probably do, especially now that the market's up at a peak. That would be the time to roll it
Mm.
at a peak.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Cool. But again, just diversifying and putting some
Sure.
money in another component to me is important. I was going to do it just before we met. Actually,
What a
I
trip.
was going to do something with Merrill Lynch, but I just
Yeah.
actually I went and met with them twice, and they blew me off twice. So I'm like, all right, bro.
In their eyes, they think you're
I'm taking
broke.
my money elsewhere.
No, in their eyes, they think you're broke.
Yeah.
They're because they recruited me. They were trying to recruit me. Their advisors, they want to have 200 clients. That's it. But if you don't have $1 million to invest, they're like,
Kick
it's wasting my time. This guy's wasting my time. And they don't necessarily like to show you the life insurance because this is a cheaper chassis than their individually money managed accounts. So they'll charge you 5% every year on their money management,
Mm,
which I own a management company, an investment advisory firm.
yeah.
But I've sat in front of a Merrill Lynch schmooze before, dude. I'm just
Right.
like, dude, don't let the suit fool you, dog. We could go outside right now. Like, it was not a good conversation. It's like, okay, dude. So what you're saying is that you were whale hunting,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
my mom, who could have saved $50 a month, would not be in your spectrum, and she could have died and left us on the street, and you won't help her.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's just my personal. Even though I'm helping more well-to-do clients now, I still will take time out and help the single mom that makes $70 or
Which
is
is
willing to
great.
put away $70 a month. On that note, before I forget, this is an example of some of our marketing.
Okay.
So I created for you. I put our logo, I put your logo, and then I put your picture. It's a free certificate. It goes into the buyers folder that you have. So when you're doing a listing appointment and you have this in your bag of tricks, you go, look, as part of the value prop, I have an advisor for you for free. They'll overlook all of your, I'm even helping them with their homeowners.
Mm.
So they'll look over your homeowners, your auto, your life, your retirement for free. And I've negotiated with Manny to give you a $25 gift certificate if you sit down with them for 30 minutes. They go, twist my arm. I get to save money and I get $25.
And they get to meet you.
And I'd like to. Did you get that on camera?
I'd have put that in the front. You know.
That's perfect.
I'd have put that in the front.
So I can do this for you. All I need is a headshot and your logo, and I can have that done by next week, and we can
Okay.
start rocking and rolling. My my realtors that I've taken a guy from making 70 grand a year to almost 700 grand a year just on marketing.
Mm.
So obviously the reason why is because when I get in there, I'm going to close, but I get 3 to 8 referrals. This was in my heyday. So I only have time for about 5 agents now, and I just barely started to kind of revisit it and massage it a little bit more. I have 3 assistants, so I'm like busy constantly, and they help me a lot. But on the marketing side, when you introduce me and I get those 3 to 8 referrals, someone needs to either upsize or downsize. So their mom and dad are 69 and 72. They don't want to go up and downstairs anymore. They need to get like a 1-story or something like that, like
Right.
a condo or something. Vice versa, a guy that's 31, building a family, they need to upsize. So when I sit down with that referral, I give them right back to you, but I don't want anything. So I know you're going to want to put money in my pocket. I don't want that. I just want to have that continuous flow.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Very, very cool.
Um,
No, this is invaluable. I think when we were talking before as well, for the agents, you know, that we have
Absolutely.
here, I need you to spread this love to them because a lot of them are making some pretty cool money with
Yeah.
the EXP stock,
Sure.
and keeping it all there may not be the smartest move for them.
Absolutely.
We have one of my agents at I think in his first year he acquired like a little over 6,000 shares.
Hmm.
So at today's value,
Yeah.
you know, that's, I don't know, $75,000.
Oh, yeah.
Is it smart to keep it all in that stock? I don't know.
Right.
But maybe talking to somebody like you
Sure.
guys can help figure out what's vested, what's not vested, and then
Sure.
reallocate that into something else.
Not to mention, like, just again, diversifying.
Right.
And even if we get the guy a little $80 life insurance policy, like a
Yeah.
term life insurance policy, that's good for him. You know, that's going to secure his family.
Right.
It gives you more peace of mind.
Certainly.
Because when someone drops, you're like, damn it, you know, what did I not do for the guy or gal? You know,
Right.
I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have did that. And it really serves its purpose long term.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But aside from that, sir, I have no other questions, man. I appreciate
Cool.
your time and
I'm going to work this up,
okay.
and I could take an app over the phone.
Okay.
So by the end of this week, I can. Here's another marketing thing that you could keep, bro. It's in español. So we do have Spanish speaking pieces. We got all that stuff.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys.
All right, so you saw it. What'd you think? I know I asked, so go for it. When I went in the field, with 4 different people, and I went on tons of different training appointments. I went on a little over 30 different training appointments. I didn't get paid on any one of those training appointments. And I remember getting in a position of a field trainer, and I thought, man, you know, I wish everybody would go on a ton of different field training appointments. Here's what I hear from brand new agents. Manny, take me in the field. I want to see a field training appointment with you and one of your clients. Manny, how do you do a presentation? Can you practice in front of me so that I could learn it? No, I don't have time for that. And if you wanted to set an appointment, you can do it with one of your friends and family members, and I can make 50% of the commission. You can make 50% of the commission. And that just doesn't sit well with the brand new associate. I have no idea why, but you know, they want to make all of the sale and 100% of the sale and whatever the case may be. That's fine. So today, I just took you in the field with me. So congratulations, you went in the field with me. You've seen what I actually do. Normally, 9 times out of 10, you figure out some things that you could have done better. And you figure out some things that you would have left out of your presentation. And you also figure out right away that you also have to sharpen that axe that is your brain when you're going out in the field and knowing how to present to several different individuals. You know, failing forward is definitely going to help you out when figuring out how to sell to multiple people. But being more confident than the average person is going to be your bonus card to pull out at any point in time. Here's what I mean by that. I really believe anybody that is doing X, I can do exactly what they can do, and I will accomplish the same results. So if I got somebody doing this, I go, well, if I follow the same action steps that they have done, I will get that. So if you're not doing the same action steps to accomplish this, how are you ever going to get to that particular goal? Hopefully the video helps, and welcome to the field. See ya.